Morning. You already know who it is. It's your boy. To the left. And welcome back. We're going to talk about Jake Paul, or as some of you may know him, Jakub Polanski. And Tommy, however you may know him as, Thomas the Furious Individual. We're going to talk about him too. Who do we think is going to win? I'm just going to say it right off the bat. I think, based off the footage that I'm about to show you guys, that Tommy Fury, in my opinion, is the better boxer, and I will give my explanations for that. So stay tuned if you want to see my explanations for Tommy Fury, why I think Tommy Fury is the better boxer by quite a margin. But first of all, let's have a little look at what Jakey can do. And now let's have a little look at what Tommy can do.
He'll lose it, but generally goes the distance.
That chin up there, right? Really leans back. If you don't take a big step with the front foot, you're not going to get the range. Good body.
And straight away, looking for Binyenda. Big attack.
So contrary to what I said at the start, let's talk about Jake Paul first of all, and the actual possibility of, him beating Tommy Fury and how he can do that. So yeah, Jake Paul has been boxing now for I think maybe 4 or 5 years. So, relative decent level, and it shows. He looks like someone who's been boxing for 4 or 5 years. He can throw all the punches nice. He looks good while he's doing it. I mean, why wouldn't he be able to throw the punches? He's been boxing for 4+ years. So that's normal. Jake Paul can hit hard. He is a fast guy. That overhand right, if he lands that on Tommy, it could very well put him out, because you know how it is with these things. All it takes is one punch, and Jake Paul does have that one punch to just end it. So I will give him that. And we're going to take a look at the training footage that was released, and I'm going to explain what I mean by all of this. So yeah, if you look at the difference in the footage, you can see that even just hitting pads, and if you've trained before, I'm sure you've been told by your coach, pad work, shadow boxing, when you're doing these things, you're supposed to emulate a fight the closest way you possibly can. For example, you don't just throw a jab or, just throw a shot. You throw a shot, move your head out of the center line, and then get back out to safety. You would do that when you're shadow boxing. You would do that when you're pad working, because that's what you're supposed to emulate. You're not just supposed to stand there and just hit the thing hard and fast and look good while doing it. I know some of us have seen Baki, where Baki, envisions himself fighting Mike Tyson, or like fighting that giant praying mantis, and that's basically his level of like shadow boxing being so, obviously we know Baki is very exaggerated, but that's his level of shadow boxing being so intense and so powerful that he is able to literally envision that person, aka Mike Tyson, actually being in front of him, because in his head it's a real fight with Mike Tyson. That's what your shadow boxing should be. And if we see from the footage, we can see that Jake Paul, when he shadow boxes, and when we see these clips of him, throwing these punches, like I said earlier, he's been boxing for a few years. Within a year, you should be able to throw these punches. So the fact that he's doing that is not what's impressive. Look at his footwork. He's not agile with his footwork compared to Tommy Fury. Tommy is light on his feet. He's light in the sense that if Jake Paul was to attack, he can easily push off to back off. You don't see him bouncing. You don't see him emulating a fight. He's more so just standing there and hitting pads. So yeah, he looks nice hitting pads. Whereas we see Tommy Fury, he's feinting. He's moving his head. He's moving his feet. He's emulating as if Jake Paul was on that other side. Tommy Fury's been boxing since he was 12 years old. I mean, he didn't really go through the amateur ranks like crazy, but I think he had 12 fights and he won the nationals. And yeah, he won the nationals. So in terms of the UK, Tommy Fury as an amateur was pretty decent. So he went through that, and yeah, he's had some easy competition as a pro, but so has Jake. I mean, in my opinion, Jake has had well easier competition. We're not, what we're gonna say, an old Anderson Silva is who was still pressuring him. It's like, let's be real. An old Anderson Silva who was still pressuring him is Jake Paul's best opponent. That's not Tommy Fury. Yeah, has been fighting terrible competition, but he's looked very good against terrible competition. Yeah, not knock them out or anything, but still, he's still doing the right things in terms of being a boxer. And let's also not forget, Tommy Fury's brother is Tyson Fury, one of the best heavyweights in the last decade. So do you think he's not being in the ring with him? So like, he's had some of the best, to learn from for quite a while. And like I said, he did relatively well at the amateur level. So far, he's doing what he should do as a pro. I honestly don't think Jake Paul is at that level yet. Tommy Fury has that 1-2 in his arsenal, and being the longer fighter, he's going to use it. So I want to see, where is that head movement from Jake, slipping that 1-2 and getting in with his own, because he's going to need to do that. He's going to need to get into range to land his power shots, because I think Jake Paul, does hit harder than Tommy Fury. So he's going to need to find a way to get, but I'm not seeing any of that from, I'm not seeing any of the angles being cut, any of the head movement to try and get him from the jab. I'm just once again seeing him look good hitting pads. And like I said, anybody can do that within 2 years of boxing. You can do those combinations within 2 years of boxing. The difference between somebody who, grew up on boxing and somebody who just started it in their 20s is very different. And I use the example of someone like Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder has the tools to knock out Tyson Fury, has the tools to, pretty much put Tyson Fury flat on his back unconscious. However, he wasn't really fully able to implement that because Tyson Fury is a lot better at boxing. Deontay Wilder, obviously, he tries his hardest, bless him. He goes hard in the gym. He wants this too. Jake Paul also goes hard in the gym, wants this too. So if I had to put something on it, I would say Tommy Fury is going to stop Jake Paul in the 4th or 5th round. That's my beard is a little bit patchy. 4th or 5th round, I think Tommy Fury is going to end it. However, before we go, I'd like to say this. There is one other possibility that this fight ends in a draw. And can we all collectively agree that if that does happen, we will all stop watching Jake Paul's fights, because that means all of this shit is rigged. Why else would they want a draw other than to get a rematch? Who else can Jake Paul fight that could give him any sort of credibility for winning? Anybody else he fights that's better than Tommy Fury would beat Jake Paul. Anybody that's potentially worse than Tommy Fury is not going to give Jake Paul any credibility. If he fights Tommy Fury, that's the best possible matchup for him. A matchup that he could potentially win and still get credibility. This is all fake. None of this is real. Turn around. I'm there with you right now.
Left to the left, everything you own in a box to the left, in the closet, that's my stuff, yes. If I bought it, say, don't touch.
Keep telling that miss, that's fine. Could you walk and talk at the same time? And
Line
it is
van
my
die
name
harde.
that is on that mix. So remove your bag so I can call you a cab.
I'm standing in the yard, see, and he's telling me how I'm such a fool. He's talking about I will never ever find a bra like him. Yo, I was lekker op zijn kop gevallen.
You must not know about me, you must not know about me.